into episode number 32 of the Overtime Podcast. Wyatt Krueger, Georgia Amoore, our 32nd guest here with you. Best start in program history at 7-2, coming off a big win in Charlottesville. First time back-to-back since 2007. What led to that victory? You had 21 in that as well.
I did, but I think we were just on a good roll. You know, we have that momentum this season, and I think a big part of that game was a rivalry game, yes, but any game in the ACC is tough, especially when you lose the main part of your team. Like Liz went out with an injury first half, so I think a whole lot of things just led us to rally together and really pull it through. So.
Yeah, what was that like dealing with Elizabeth Keeley having that injury and you guys kind of having to rally together, like you said? Was that, you know, kind of a position you guys haven't been in yet this season, and what was that like dealing with that?
Yeah, we haven't been in that position yet. Obviously, like our team, I think we're probably one of the smallest benches in the ACC. But, you know, that doesn't really affect us that much. But, you know, Liz is a big part of what we do. And to see her go out, it was kind of moving for all of us because that's, a double-double right there out of the game.
Right.
So I think everyone just took ownership. And Coach Brooks always says, you know, you have a role and do it. And if you do it, we'll be fine. But I think a couple of us really stepped up and almost exceeded the role we had. So that helped a lot. You
know, the team's having a lot of success this year, and you say, like, Kenny Brooks getting everyone to buy in. What's that been like, and what do you think the biggest difference this year, this team has been compared to last year?
I think where we're kind of at this year, it's not as similar as what we were last year, but I think we're more together at this point in the season compared to what we were last year, because I think this time last year we had lost a lot, and I think this week had just come off a win against, at the time, number 2 NC State. Like, that happened a year ago, almost today. So I think that's when the shift happened last year, and I think this year we just had a better start, and we're building on it still. So I don't think we're, like, at that point yet, but definitely building on it.
How about Kenny Brooks' offense? How's that different from, you know, other offenses you've played in the past?
I think his offense, it's flowing, it's pretty, but there's so many options in one set.
Right.
Like, the defense can scout whatever they want to scout. They can scout to take Liz out, they can scout to take Shep out, but what they also don't see is all the other options within the play. It's ridiculous.
So someone different can step up every game,
right?
At that point.
There's so many different looks in, like, one play.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm always interested in that coach-point guard relationship, because as the point guard, you kind of have to be the coach on the floor. So what is that relationship like with Kenny Brooks? I know he does a great job of kind of making those genuine connections with everyone on the team, but what is it like specifically with you as the point guard, as the floor general, so to speak?
Yeah, I think we just have a great trust in each other, and you can't have a good relationship without great trust. So that just, like, conveys, and obviously I adore him, so whatever he says I'm going to buy into, and vice versa, he's going to give me that energy. But I think just carrying it onto the court, if Coach Brooks and I see eye to eye, then the team's going to trust me more, because if I'm saying something completely different to what he's saying, then they're going to get confused. And
yeah, we were talking before the podcast. We had him on a few episodes back, and he talked for 45 minutes. I mean, he was a great guest, and I know our viewers really enjoyed that. What were the words that he said that got you to come to Virginia Tech? What did he sell you?
I think it was just the family aspect. From Australia to America is a trip, but from Australia to America's East Coast, that's a ridiculous trip. But just his impression on me and my family, like, that was a big thing. I knew I was going to be safe here, I knew I was going to be taken care of, but I specifically remember after I committed on spot. So I committed in his office, and when I went out to walk out, because I had a flight in about 4 hours, he, like, looked at me and he was like, "We're going to work." And I looked back and I was like, "Oh." Which, like, it's a good thing, but it was just like, wow, like, he's going to develop me. He's going to take the time to make me a better player than what I already am.
How long is that flight? That's gotta be it.
I think, like, altogether travel, like, driving and all, around 30-ish.
Which way do you go around? I was trying to...
Probably the other way, you're right.
Like, you think you go... Yeah, you don't go across the U.S., right?
No, you can go both ways.
You can go both ways?
Yeah, so I've taken
Depends on the
trips.
airline.
Yeah, I've taken many trips here, and they've all been different routes. But,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I've gone across America.
Was that a bit of a culture shock, kind of growing up in Australia, that being like the only environment you knew, and then coming to Blacksburg in the United States, was that a bit of a culture shock for you?
Yeah, it was for sure. I think location-wise, probably not, because where I'm from, it's a bit of like a rural area,
Really?
farming,
Mhm.
all of that. So that aspect wasn't really different. It's not like I went from a city to
Yeah.
Right.
here. But yeah, culture, food, everything like that was just a big shift.
Food better here there.
Look.
Don't answer it. Don't answer it. Don't answer that. How'd that help you grow as a player and as a person? Just that trip from Australia to here.
Yeah, I think in my mind I've always approached it as like, this is my opportunity. If I'm here and I'm complaining
Right.
about everything, I'm not going to get anything out of it. So even though it's a massive shift, it's just, this is my life for the next however many years I'm here for. Why waste it and complain about what I don't have?
Yeah, and what about playing, you played for the U19 national team for Ballarat Rush, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Ballarat Rush. How did that help you kind of grow into a player, and did that make things easier coming to the ACC and playing Division I college basketball, having already gotten that kind of professional type experience?
Yeah, I think playing at home professionally, it kind of matures you a bit. I think coming into college, I never really had the expectation that, I was the best player at home, so I'm going to be the best player here. Like, no. I got extremely humbled in the WNBL. I got humbled in the NBL. So I think that mindset was a big help. But even just, like, the willingness to grow and develop and take in and learn. Because when you play at home with professionals, you watch them and you learn from them. Especially because the league it was in, like, they were my idols.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a weird parallel, but definitely helps a lot doing what I did at home coming over.
That's really
That's
cool.
interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
So you play along one of the best guards in the ACC, Asia Shepherd. How's that, having just such a great shooter by your side all the time?
Yeah, I mean, this is like my 2.5 year with her or
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
But it's great. She's that super senior. She's
Right.
a
Yeah.
bit of a grandma, but like, unfortunately, like, this is her COVID year, so she's gonna be gone next year. So I guess just learning and listening and just building that relationship, because inevitably it's going
Right.
to finish.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, so moving back to this season, it just seems like, we're talking on the way here, this team's just not getting as much national buzz as maybe you guys deserve. Can't get into the top 25. We saw this week Duke had more votes than you. You guys swept Duke this year. Do you guys like that? Do you guys kind of use that as motivation, or is it just kind of on to the next one? We don't really care about the outside stuff.
Yeah, I think as soon as we read into all those rankings, like, that can affect us mentally. I mean, you look at some of those teams and you never know if you would beat them or if you wouldn't beat them, or if they're bet, like, there's no way we're going to play every single people in
Right.
the 25 poll. We would never know. But Coach Brooks always says, like, there's a difference between the hunters and the hunted.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we are the hunters.
Mhm.
And that's
Love
kind of
that.
fun.
I love
Yeah.
that.
You just go after people. So as long as we keep that mindset, well, that stuff doesn't matter.
That's our headline right there. I think we're going to use that quote. How about your team? How do they react to something like that? Because I know, we've asked other players this question in the past, and it's usually, we focus one game at a time. What is your team? Is there any buzz about the top 25 between your team, or is that always, hey, we're leaving that to the side?
I mean, we definitely check the poll.
Yep.
We definitely
Yeah.
look at the votes received, but I don't think it's live or die by
Yeah,
it.
no,
If
absolutely.
it was, I
Mhm.
think mentally we'd be in a much worse headspace
Yeah.
than what we are. But definitely use it as motivation, and I mean, check in it every so often, but
Mhm.
don't take too much.
Yeah.
Um,
Use it as fuel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 So we've read that you're in control of the music before. Is it before and after the games?
Sometimes before.
Sometimes before.
Never after.
Okay.
So after a big win, what's one song you need to play? Get the girls fired up.
Honestly, after wins, we kind of just sit there and talk and get all excited.
Okay.
And we plan if we're gonna spray Coach Brooks with some water or whatever,
Yeah.
but there's never really any music after the game.
How about if there's one song? So I look back to the Boston Red Sox playoff run. They had this one song called "Dancing on My Own." They played it before, after every game. They were obsessed with it. Have you
Fans
guys
rallied around it.
Fans rallied around it. It was a whole big thing. Have you guys had a song like that in the past or this year at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think we're pretty, honestly, like a superstitious team individually.
Mhm.
So like individuals will have their own ways of getting prepared. So I think don't want to mess with that too much. I
Right.
don't want to take anything.
What do you have? What are some of your superstitions?
I mean, I listen to house music and all of that.
House
but-
music.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I don't think anyone else on the team likes it. So.
So as a point guard, some games you obviously have to be the facilitator. But I mean, you've shown the ability to be capable as a scorer. You got 20 against FSU, 20 against Duke. Is that something you kind of feel out as the game goes, or before the game, if you're feeling it, or are you just like, I'm going to get my shots up?
Yeah, I think I definitely need to be more aggressive, because the more aggressive I am, the more it opens up for others.
Yeah.
So I think I can never be one or the other. But I think just stepping up like this year compared to last year, just being more aggressive and just seeing what we need, I guess. I think so far I have been feeling it out, which I think tends for me to kind of come out more in the second half than it does the first.
Yeah.
But honestly, I probably should start off the game like that. But when we lost Liz, we needed that, and I think everyone pretty much stepped up in that role too. But
Yeah, you play with such a veteran team too, and you're one of the younger players that does get big minutes. What's that like, having to be the floor general and that leader on the team with a bunch of older players?
I think just a mutual respect. Like I know that whoever says what, it's going to be understood and it's going to be carried out on the floor. So I think that helps a lot. But I don't really feel as young as I do, because I am a sophomore, but I'm also almost 21.
Yeah.
So like I am like the junior's age.
Okay, there you go.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
So, I mean, as the point guard, how does playing with Elizabeth Kitley help you out? I mean, that just seems like she would just be so fun to play with, make your job that much easier, having that mismatch on the floor at all times.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes she almost tells me what to do.
Really?
Yeah, and we have that relationship where in the heat of the moment it'll kind of just come out like aggressive, and if you didn't know our relationship, then it would kind of almost seem like she's mad at me. But there was like an instance against Duke, I think it was, where she told me what to do, and I was like, wow. But then I did it and it worked. I was like, okay, fair enough. But she's incredibly smart, and she reads the game really well, and she's obviously incredibly talented. So all aspects she covers, and it just helps us immensely.
All right, Coach Brooks brings a recruit to Virginia Tech. What's one spot you want to show him on campus? If you had to choose one, it can be an overrated part of campus. It can be anywhere. One spot, or underrated, in your opinion.
You put me on the spot.
Wyatt, you answer first.
Can you say the question again? Sorry.
A recruit. Coach Brooks brings a recruit, and he says, Wyatt, you got to show him the number one spot on campus. Where are you taking?
Oh, we're going to either PK's or
Okay.
substation.
So it has to be food?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I would say the pylons.
Pylons would be good.
Maybe
Drill field,
pylon,
duck
like a
pond.
sunset. Yep.
Yeah, no, I reckon you grab a slice of Benny's,
Okay.
sit,
Oh, yeah.
sit on the pylons around 5:30, 6 p.m.
Watch the
in
sunset.
in the summer, not in the winter.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's the best answer. We combine those two answers. There you go. All right, enough of the serious questions. Wyatt, you got one to fire off?
Yeah, so we were just talking about food. I was going to ask your favorite place to eat in Blacksburg. But I guess I'd rather ask, what made you choose the communication science and social inquiry major that you have? Because I knew you'd be involved in that.
Yeah, I was in that because I wanted to be like I guess something with sports or whatever. But I actually changed my major to sociology.
Okay.
Because I want to teach. I just love helping people, and I think that's the best route for it. But yeah,
That's awesome.
I think they need to update the website.
They do, yeah. I know.
But honestly, it's my third major change, so I can't blame them. I'm kind of unpredictable.
It also seems like you have a great relationship with the men's team. How does that work during the season? I mean, are you in contact with those guys? I know you're both obviously so busy and you're supporting each other, but how does that kind of relationship work?
Yeah, I mean, we're always around each other, so
Yeah.
we always have to say hey and whatever. But I think we just understand each other, and it's just a mutual respect, as I said. But I think they're in a position where they've been unlucky a couple of times, and that was kind of us last year, the single-digit losses, the heartbreak, whatever it is. So I think just checking in on them, because it will be okay. And the more they stick together, whatever, it'll be fine. But
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, it's just proud of them too for when they do have that success.
Yeah.
Hunter and Sean had a great game the other day, and I texted them right after the game, and I was like, I'm proud of you guys.
That's
because
awesome.
they really just pulled it through. So
At Virginia Tech, it's kind of the only other group that understands what you're going through in
Right.
season, right?
Yeah. And I mean in Han, we're in here all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I see them every single day.
Yeah. All right. Why number 5? I was actually number 5 myself growing up. So.
Okay. So at home they went from shortest to tallest, and it always started
Just
at
stuck
number
with you?
5.
Really?
Number 5.
But I think I used to be number 15
Okay.
as a kid, and that number was just given to me. But I think as I grew up, the height thing played into it.
Mhm.
So it was a choice, but it wasn't a choice.
Do you have a favorite sport to watch outside of basketball, or the other things to do outside of basketball?
I like watching Australian rules football. That's always exciting.
I've been getting into that.
Yeah,
I've been
it's
getting
pretty
into
good.
it. Especially with the Olympics in the summer. That was amazing.
But yeah, I think
If it wasn't basketball, what sport would you play? Australian rules football? Or?
I played so many sports as a kid.
Yeah.
I honestly could not pick one.
When was it basketball? When was it 100% in on basketball?
It was probably when I got to maybe I was like 14.
Okay.
Because at home, the way the program works is like, it's busy.
Yeah.
And me being a rural kid, I had to travel so much. Like my mom would have to drive me 2 hours for one training session in the city and bring me back that same night. So there was no way I could
Mhm.
do 2 or 3 sports.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think probably around 14.
Was there someone in your life that, told you, hey, you're really good, you can play at the next level?
Honestly, as a kid, I've always been like sporty and athletic. So the sports that I did, I loved it because I was good at them. But I think basketball was just probably the sport that was going to give me more opportunities. And at the time, I probably didn't think like that.
Yeah.
But it was definitely the one that took me the most places, that gave me the most friends. So I was like,
Right.
okay, I love basketball because of these reasons. But I'm glad I chose it.
Yeah. So who's the best in the locker room for keeping things, loose and fun throughout the entire season?
Aside from you and your ox.
Yeah, I was going to say me.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think all of us, well, our team has a very relaxed and laid-back personality.
Yeah, that's good to have.
Which is weird because the teams I've been a part of before have always been like loud.
Right.
I don't know if that's just an Australian thing or not,
Yeah.
but yeah, everyone is definitely relaxed. So
All right, what are your go-to kicks for game day? Not those are pretty cool though too.
Thank you.
They're white Nikes with an orange swoosh.
Yep.
You guys know.
Low blazers. But so far, when we've been winning, I've been wearing the Giannis's
Okay.
Zoom Freak ones. So, but I love any type of Kirby. But once
Kobe's
again,
the best shoes.
the superstition.
Well, I just
stuff.
shoe guy, so he knows
Yeah.
more.
Right.
There will never be a shoe better than the Kobe Eats, in my opinion. So, do you have any favorite WNBA, NBA players that you kind of look up to, try to model your game after?
Yeah, I mean, so far I've been kind of keeping watching Patty Mills.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's just a good role model, not only for Australians because he is like, I think he has Aboriginal descent and he's like
Yeah.
really vocal about like
Mhm.
Torres Strait Island and all that. So I think that's a great thing. But I think he's just a hard worker. I think he's always kind of been probably undervalued
Yeah,
in every
definitely.
teams he's been in. But I think this year he's been really good. So.
All the courts in the ACC that you played on, what's the best stadium I guess you've been to?
Castle.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, if it wasn't Castle, where?
Every place is so different, to be honest. And to be honest, too, like, two of the games we played this year have been Duke and UVA.
Yeah.
And last year I had never played in their gyms.
Okay.
So I'm still experiencing
Yeah.
Right.
people's gyms. But, Duke, that's just a historical arena. Like, yeah.
It is. So, do you have a favorite place to eat in Blacksburg, either off campus or on campus?
I always get asked this question. I always get stuck.
I'm sorry.
No, because it just like depends on the day and what I'm feeling. Sometimes
Right,
it could be
right.
Panther Express, sometimes it could be the farmhouse. I don't know.
Yeah.
It really depends.
I get streaky with mine too. I'll go
Right.
like a week and I'll eat the same thing and then I get tired.
Oh
of it.
yeah, that was me with Chipotle last week. And now I'm
That's
like,
every other week
I
with
wanna go
Chipotle,
there.
yeah.
Right.
Chipotle either hits or it misses.
It
like
does.
sometimes it's just really bad.
That's,
Sometimes
that is a great call. How about fans in the stands? What's that like this year?
Yeah, I mean, like last year was COVID, so we
Right,
had none. And
exactly.
I didn't realize how big of a difference it makes,
Yeah.
especially at home. We had fans, but like, I think
Limited, right?
and like the college aspect of fans causes them to be so much more invested and
Yeah.
involved in the energy.
Great
like
point.
that, they watch the game because like they care so
Mhm.
much. Whereas I think at home the difference is like they watch the game because they got some tickets. And
Yeah.
it's like, but like they just bring the energy and the noise, and it really just affects the whole game.
Mhm.
Yeah, like the crowd for that UVA game was
Mhm.
fantastic. Was
Yeah.
that one of the most crazy environments you played in, or were you in Australia? Were you playing in kind of packed gyms like that all the time?
No, that was the craziest
Really?
I've ever been in. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think the second craziest thing I've been in is when we were in Belarus, and they actually brought like the Belarus military to fill the stands.
Oh my god.
They didn't make any noise, but it was just intimidating.
That's intimidating.
That's even more. Yeah, that's
Right.
super intimidating.
Right.
Were they running against you?
No, they just weren't doing anything. They
They
were
just
just
sit
sitting
They
there.
were just there.
Yeah, they're so like well
They
behaved
were-
and disciplined that they just like. I think it was to like bring attention
Okay.
to the tournament, but that was
Awesome.
just intimidating.
How about take us through it? Maybe your busiest day you've had this year with basketball, school, everything going on, or an average day.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
average day. I mean, I'll do it when we travel. So I think last week when we were traveling to, I can't even remember, but I had study hall 8 a.m. That should go for 2 hours, but I have class at 9:05, so I have to leave for that. Then once that 9:05 class leaves, I have a 10:10 class.
Wow.
10:10 finishes, I grab lunch, I come here, it's like taping, film, practice. At this point of the season, recovery,
Yeah.
treatment, and then yeah, I guess traveling and then doing homework on the bus. That's a new thing too. I'm a junior in credits now.
Yeah.
So the homework is catching up to me.
Yeah.
I'm doing things I've never done before.
I think a
Junior
lot
is
of
the
people,
hardest year too.
right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand how much goes into being a student athlete, and like your day to day is just, wall to wall, like you said,
Mhm.
like 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I think they need to appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, basketball, it's so important that you're playing your best late in the season towards March. Do you guys still think that you haven't played your best basketball yet? And what do you guys kind of need to do to make sure that you're coming together at the perfect time this year?
Yeah, I think we still have room to grow, and I think the best game is probably when all the shooters are on and Liz is on, the
Yeah.
inside-outside game we talk about. Because I think we have had glimpses of that, but if you go back and look at our games, I think it's kind of swinging one or the other. But I think the best game is when that's all going to be on. But as you said, the end of the season is probably the best time for it to happen. So as long as we just keep growing and strive for that,